So today in ESO chat, one of the things I really wanted to touch base on was I know Core and Cyphix, you guys are like kind of done with PVE at this point. Am I wrong by saying that?
More or less. I mean, like I run Maelstrom and I want to try the new trial, but I'm tired of farming Maw, if that's what you're talking about.
And Core, you're pretty much on the stance of you're just done with it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably like kill the new trial a few times, and I'll be done with it after that. Aside from grinding gear.
You know, that's another thing I want to touch base on tonight, and I hope our viewers can probably agree with us on this, was that I'm getting tired of grinding gear in dungeons, dude. I want that shit to be able for me to be able to purchase it. I agree with the token system we talked about last time. I liked that idea. Um, I don't know, Core. I want to touch base again with you on your token idea. So, what is your full blown idea for a token system for PvPers to get the gear they need out of dungeons?
Man, you cut me like I actually have like a mathematical idea about this. Um, but my generalized thought is that Cyphex, how long does it take an average person to run Maelstrom?
Hour-ish.
Okay. Um, but maybe you should get probably 4 times the tokens that someone does a dungeon that maybe takes 30 to 45 minutes. Um, so of course I don't have any exact numbers of how many tokens you should get, but depending upon the content, the harder the content, of course, give an increased amount of tokens. Um, when I think that you should just exchange AP for a token, a PVE token. I mean, I think that would be the best thing. I'll leave the thought or the math to the developers to decide to come up with that conversion.
Well, so give me like an idea here. So like when you say token, are you saying like one token you're able to get one piece of gear, or now are we talking about like each
I
different...
think it should be no. I think it should be more. Um, because I don't think everyone running Maelstrom 1 should get a two-handed sword sharpened immediately off of just running it once. I don't know. How would you feel about that, Cyphex? I mean, it'd be awesome not having to farm Maelstrom, but
So, I mean, like I put a lot of time into Maelstrom, so I would feel a little bit ripped off, right?
mm-hmm.
But I think that the like a lot of people say they don't feel like the developers play the game, right? And I would say the one thing, like for the most part, I don't think that's the case. But the one thing that makes me think that is the itemization system. When you look at a set like Amberplasm or Bone Pirate or um, Lich or whatever, right? You can tell that it very obviously, if you have any idea what's going on in the game, you can tell that that's not a PvE set. That's not a dungeon runners set. Like why do you have that in the dungeons? Why are you forcing PvPers to go into PvE and farm these dungeons if like that's obviously not why they picked up your fucking game. Like why not just put those sets in somewhere like where you pick up Ravager or um, any of the other sets that you can pick up that are overland sets in the little RNG boxes like Necropotence or other things that
Mm-hmm.
are applicable. Um,
Well, I mean,
So
I wanted to touch base on. I think that like AP itself, I kind of feel like it's null and void. Like, yeah, you can buy some good sets with like Alteration Master or whatever, and they sell decently on the market, but they sell to other PvPers. You know, currently right now, like we have very
yeah.
few ways as a PvPer to make any kind of gold. You know, which is really aggravating. You know, I feel like PvEers kind of have that over us, is that they're always going to be able to make gold where we can't. You know, we still have to upgrade items. We still have to gold stuff out. You know, we don't have these abilities to do this, you know, very well because we're always in PvP. We're making AP. But yet I make millions of AP a week and I am unable to constantly go out and get the gear that I need to unless I have gold. You know, and it really aggravates me that I can't go and say buy any single set in the game with AP. Like make it its own currency. We make it to where we don't even have to survive off of gold in PvP. I don't know, how do you guys feel about that?
I think the token system will be there. I mean, I agree with you in some way. It's just that would reduce the amount of PVE grinding as well for the people that wish to do just PVE. Like, say you run a dungeon and it supplies you with 1 token. Sure, you run Maelstrom and it supplies you with 4. Then just have a conversion rate between that and AP. That way it's kind of fair for everybody, I suppose.
So, what do you guys think they? So, let's say if they do add this token system and they reduce the grinding by whatever. What are your ideas on how would they keep the game from getting boring to players who have already gotten all their gear for every single thing they want to do? So, how do they keep that from happening at that point?
A quick band-aid that other MMOs have put out in the past is increasing the difficulty of pre-existing things. Yeah, it kind of sucks, but PvEers that have to have that top score, or maybe leave like a top-end gear for them, or some kind of specialized token.
And look at the raiding community exploded.
So. Yeah, so add like a nightmare mode, like whatever.
Yeah, after you get like full spec'd out, then add a harder mode that you can join into. Of course, have your normal, your hard mode, and then have like nightmare for fully on spec'd out max CP players, right?
Yep.
I like that idea. That's kind of going like in the route of Diablo at that point. But I mean, I still think that they did their grinding system pretty well.
On top of that though, so there's also the PvP system, and I think they have kind of the right idea with it. They constantly are trying to reshape the meta, reshape what people are doing, whether we think it's for the better or worse, right? They're trying to change things and keep the game fresh in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think as far as that aspect goes, I think they're doing that right, trying to keep the game fresh.
Yeah, that word PvP is not stale as well. Like, that would kind of suck.
Well, they should change
all the time.
They do these big sweeping changes every 6 months instead of.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see rather smaller changes every 3 months. Like maybe 3 months take cost reduction out of CP. If it's still too much, then 3 months later take cost reduction out of armor.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah. So stuff like that. I don't know.
So is Nefas still with us? Nefas, are you finally cooled down from your raid?
Give me another 5 minutes because we're looking for traders at the moment.
Okay. So, I mean, and then let's I don't know. Like I talk about BGs too, and a lot of people say that they think Cyrodiil is going to be dead when BGs comes out. I don't think so.
Sarah's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, my personal opinion is I think that the elite players are going to be in BGs. I think that's what we're going to be seeing. I don't think that we're going to see, these really bad players that we all go pick on and we go farm for hours on end, at the bridge or at a resource. I don't think they're going to be playing BGs. They're going to step foot into BGs once and probably never return.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate. Like, they'll play for like a week. I think there will be a huge boom, and then it'll probably die down quite a bit, much like IC did. And then sadly, there won't be the Arboretum or whatever equivalent comes up in BGs. They'll nerf it or change it somehow and ruin it, and then no one will go in. But for the time being, it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun for a while. Like I said, it'll be something fresh, it'll be something different scenery.
So, what do you guys think about this? I was thinking about an interesting game mode for BGs that I thought would be really cool, and it's kind of touching base with like what we had with Arboretum, or maybe even just adding Arboretum to BGs. I think it'd be super cool to do like a 10v10v10 in the Arboretum again, and add that aspect back into the game, and it's a team deathmatch.
I don't know that ZeniMax is aware that that was a thing.
It was awesome.
It was.
Running a Blazing Shield Templar and live forever. It's great.
For anybody who doesn't know, Maybe JD you should pull up on the map the Arboretum in Imperial City before the district system. Um, well, still, all three spawns for DCAD and EP are very close to each other along the same wall. And Friday, Saturday nights, everybody who like was really good or wanted to learn how to PvP went there, and it was just a rumble. You just had all three factions, you know,
I mean, there were times where you
just
would
going
see.
at it.
There were times where you would see, like, 300 people in the Arboretum, and it
I
was
think
insane.
Fangrush actually has a video of an Arbo Rumble, back like way back before Stam Sork was like OP as shit, and it got like 200 some odd kills over an hour or something like.
So,
It's
so
a good little
for you
video.
guys who don't know about the Arboretum, I got the map pulled up right here. So here's the entrance to AD sewers right here. So right here you got in this area right here where my cursor's at, you have EP is their spawn. Right here is AD's spawn, and then right here was DC spawn. And now keep in mind at this time there was no timers on spawning. It was literally you died and you respawned right in the same district that you died in. And so you would have 100 people in this area, right over in here, primarily, right in this little area, and you would just see a rumble going on. I mean, there was like 300 people, sometimes 200, something
And I
like
would
that.
never. I don't know about y'all, but I would never lag either.
Mm-mm.
Like I never lagged.
I think the
Every
only time
once
I
in a
lagged,
while.
I think the only time I lagged in the Arbo was when they had that respawning issue. Remember that right when you killed a mob, it would respawn right after. That was the only time I had lag issues, and that was because there were so many dead fucking NPC bodies all over the area that it just lagged out the entire fucking server.
There was one time where Core and I think you were there. I think a lot of people were there, but we all dropped meteors at like the same time. So we dropped like 12 meteors, and everybody crashed. Like we crashed, they crashed. Like it was bad.
I remember there was one particular moment. It was actually really fun, and this was what was really cool about IC back then. I remember me and Nefas were the only two EP left in this whole area, and there had to have been 15 AD right here. And what was funny is right here's a sidewalk, right here where my cursor's at. You got a sidewalk, and so they're rushing in on us on this sidewalk. We have them in a choke. And we go in with Proxy Death, and I forget what Nefas was wearing, but man, I had Vicious Death on at the time. Now keep in mind, this was back when Vicious Death was OP and an execute, and we wiped the entire group, and then they just jumped right back down and then zerged us down. But it was fun. It was fun, man. I mean, you got a meteor with Prox Death, and this was back when Prox Death was OP as fuck, and just wiped the entire group, and then they just came back down and zerged us down.
Dude, I would do that on my health bar, man. I would actually let it proc it with him and just the shields. That's it. That's all I need. 10 people dead.
And so
anyway.
I know that like a lot of times we don't touch base on, I don't know, well we kind of touched base on the market last week. So I was kind of thinking about the market, and I was looking at the changes to PvP sets and what we're going to be getting in rewards for the worthy. I think weapons are about to go through the roof. That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know. I think they'll actually go down overall.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll be more available.
They will. Yeah, they'll go down in price.
Yeah.
What, you think weapons are going to go down in price? Because now they're making it to where you can only get armor pieces, and that's it.
Oh, that's right.
So
I forgot
I'm thinking
about that.
jewelry and weapons, I think, are about to go. I think they're going to skyrocket in price.
Only in the mail now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only way to get weapons and jewelry now is going to be an in-game reward or in-campaign rewards.
Okay.
Yeah, they're completely.
Yeah, you're right. Then their price will go way up then.
That's I think that'll also nerf a lot of builds or a lot of availability of a lot of builds because it's just so easy to go like 5.5.2 with your sets.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was one Tamriel when that came back. Like willpower indirectly got just thrown to the wayside. Nobody like really runs it that much anymore.
I still sell
Um,
it a lot, dude. Like it's
a
I don't
lot
know why.
of a lot of new PvEers will run it, and it's still good on like Max Sork, right? Like you 5-101 Desoresto
Hmm.
with 3 willpower. But
I mean, I
but anyway,
still on my Sork, I can still pump out good damage on that old Julianos, willpower build with 2 Rugs and 1 Kina, and I've never had an issue with it. So I don't see why new players wouldn't still be using willpower. It's a cheap alternative to, one of the more expensive sets, or a cheap alternative to getting infallible Aether. Less of a
I'm,
grind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually, what am I saying? I'm wearing willpower right now.
Oh, see, over there you go, over there talking all that mess.
Yeah.
So,
Seducer, Engine Guardian, willpower.
I want to bring up on screen real quick for our viewers some of the sets that are coming out next patch. I'm going to go ahead and pull those up and kind of go over them with you guys and see what you guys are thinking and what we're dealing with next patch.
All right, all right.
So,
One that I would like to see immediately removed is the poison, alchemist poison, or whatever the crap it is.
Yep.
Like,
I think that
I don't think anyone really likes poisons in this game. Like, except for the person using it, maybe.
I think cost poisons are the only one that I honestly have an issue with, and that's just because of how severely they affect your gameplay. Personally,
All right.
Yeah.
So,
Nobody likes to be knocked down or immediately like locked down because of a 60% reduction or 60% increased cost rather.
we got some of the new sets coming out. I got them pulled up here, and I'm going to kind of go over them for our people tuning in or whatever, and kind of get some ideas as to what you guys think and what they might think about them. One of the sets I was looking at last week that I thought was really interesting was War Maiden. I think that set's pretty cool. You get it in Wardenfell. It's max health, max magicka, spell damage, and then 400 spell damage to all magic damage abilities. Now, so my question is how is that going to stack with sets like, say, like Sun, or the Shock one and shit like that, or the Destro one, or
it wouldn't. It would be more crystal frags. I think it'll be really popular with Magicka Nightblades. I think that's where it's gonna find its home. Because even Templar, right? Reflective Light is a great dot. It's fire damage. If you run Purifying Light instead, which I guess you probably should this patch, this could be good for Magicka Templar as well. So it's a solid set for sure. I like the looks of it.
Then you have Infector coming out for all you Stam users out there. So we're looking at 129 weapon damage, 688 critical, 2 of them. And then the 5-piece, when you deal critical damage, you're going to have an 8% chance to summon a Hunger that spews poison to all enemies in front of it, dealing, I don't know if those numbers aren't correct, but poison damage and stunning enemies for 5 seconds. This effect can occur every 5 seconds. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
It is going to be 10,000 on that, by the way.
Oh, it is going to be 10,000. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's a fucking proc set coming back from hell right there. Here we go. Another.
Well, it's 8% on crit damage though, so I guess maybe
run a heavy crit
Stamplar.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking like what would
Stamplar would probably
Yeah.
use it
What's
with
the
sweeps.
cooldown on that?
5 seconds.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Mm-hmm.
so you get the rending slashes rolling with that and the jabs. That could be pretty mean.
This is why mobility builds are going to come back. You're going to see a lot of medium or mobility builds, in my opinion.
Yeah, Mark's. We're just kind of going over what's coming up in the next patch, so we can kind of gear up and get ready for it. Because I know a lot of people that view my stream, they're PvPers, and so I don't know if a lot of them have had a chance to really look at the new sets that are coming out, and so I'm kind of giving everybody that opportunity to see what we have coming out and what to be expecting in next patch. This one I thought was really interesting. Warrior Poet. Gain minor toughness at all times, increasing your max health by 10%. on the 5-piece, while also giving you physical and spell resistance. That's pretty tanky, man. I mean, I guess that's a better version of Pariah in a way.
I think that's so depending on your build, I think that would replace Plague Doctor for a lot of people. Though I don't know how viable Sunshield Plar will be next patch. It'll be interesting to see and just see people walking around with a shit ton of health. It's fun, but yeah.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, you got stuff like, so let's say if somebody wears Warrior's Poet with that other set from IC, you know, the one that, you know, does 4% of your max health to someone, you know, and I mean, that could be kind of interesting.
It's not 4% of max health. I believe it's remaining health. By the way, the tooltip is listed.
Let me see. Take a look at that set real quick.
I've looked at it. I'm not for sure on that, but you could run that on the health floor, and that would hurt a lot.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's 4% of your current health. Yep. So you're right, not max health. So that could be interesting. I don't know. Maybe if you're running like a health regen build with that, could be kind of interesting. So going down to crafted armor, this brings up your alchemical poison one. I want to see this immediately just get removed from the game. Especially because when we're dealing with stuff like cost poisons and shit like that, like I'm not liking this at all.
Yeah, the bow guys that you always run into in the Zergs, there's gonna be at least a couple of them with that on, just keeping poisons on everybody.
Yeah, there sure will be.
Marks, I agree with you too. So Mark said in chat, you know, he likes Shacklebreaker. He thinks that, you know, maybe next patch that hybrids might be something to consider, which I agree. I think hybrid builds might be something really interesting next patch.
I'm thinking about it with my Argonian DK.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it.
Definitely the thing that I like about Shacklebreaker, it's you get the max stats for both, which is what most hybrid builds lack on, is having the max stats. You can have a decent pool of one to get damage, but because damage is based off of your max stat pool, it's normally pretty hard to push both of them.
Well, I think it's going to be really interesting to see some like Stam DK builds next patch, because like think of Shacklebreaker with like Armor of Truth next patch on like a Stam DK.
So my Stam DK is kind of like a hybrid setup right now.
Mm-hmm.
He has crap gear, dude, like a couple blues or whatever, but I'm like I told you the last talk, I'm able to tank 10 people, and it's because my coagulating blood heals me for so much, because I have enough spell power and max magicka as well. So I can just bounce between my magicka pool and my stamina pool. So something like this is going to buff that even further. I think you'll see a lot of, at least the tanky DKs that are like leading the Zerg per se. Some of them are probably going to start running it.
Oh yeah, they're going to be a lot stronger than they were before, especially because now it's going to open up 2 different heals where they're going to be able to have that hot going on the whole time, and then also have access to a burst heal that's going to be significant next patch. You know, especially because you're getting spell damage too off of it, along with the max stat and recovery too. Man, I mean that set's just like all around a hybrid's dream you could even think of. Now, what do you guys think about Daedric Trickery? I don't know if you guys dove into that set at all. I thought it
gives you like a random it gives you like a random major, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It looks kind of fun. It's interesting. I don't like the RNG in this game, so.
If you're feeling masochistic one night, just go ahead and run that.
That's Preda's set. Dark gets to run that set. No one else.
I think it'll be kind of interesting to see some builds with that. You know, I mean, you could possibly have somebody in that. I mean, that's like, you know, you never saw anybody running Succession when that came out in Maelstrom, which I never understood that, because that set looks actually really fun, but I never seen anybody running it.
Purple Slushies run it. I mean, it's a set. It works. I don't know. I don't think it was all that great, but
the only thing that ever really benefited was Crushing Shock or whatever it was.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, Coward's Gear. So here's our Battleground sets. This is what I'm getting ready for, what I'm excited about. Coward's Gear, I thought this set was really cool. I don't run Stam, but I think we're going to see a lot of Stam classes running this. When you're sprinting, you get Major Expedition and Major Protection, increasing your movement speed and reducing your damage taken by 30%. That set just seems like it would be so much fun on like a bow build. Okay? I don't know how you guys feel.
I see that plus Eternal Cunt
Oh, yeah.
and like one
just,
Kina.
just an
And then you just,
unkillable
like,
chode. That's pretty much it.
dude, that's gonna be so annoying to deal with. I sighed the second that I read that set and what it did. I was like, you guys seriously put this in the game? Like, do you just know what pisses me off in Cyrodiil? Like, yeah.
Krogan said he's going to use that on his Stamplar.
Fuck Krogan.
Krogan has now come back to the game and ready to annoy people. All right.
Yeah.
That's why I like this guy, man. I like Krogan. It's fun. He's always been one of the guys I can rely on to go troll people with me.
Krogan was one of the ones that taught me how to PvP.
There you go. So I'm looking at Night Slayer 2, which I thought was really cool. It's basically a Magicka version of what's that stupid set? Shieldbreaker. Okay, it's basically like a Magicka version. I thought it was really neat. It's going to give you that spell damage, the max stat, and then also max health, where it's also going to give you your fully charged heavy attacks are going to deal 10% of a player's max health as oblivion damage. That's a lot of damage, dude. And Mark, so oblivion damage goes through resistance and shields, man. It's unshieldable damage, basically. It's going to go right through your shield. So Sorks are going to have an issue out of magic users wearing this set. Especially those ones that are trolling people with the heavy attack on the lightning staff.
It would be interesting to see if dual wield procs it twice.
What I really want to know is, is it going to be an AoE proc too on the lightning staff? That's what I really want to know. Because that would be interesting if you're fighting a big group and you're hitting them with.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really show a cooldown or anything.
Right, no cooldown. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it could be a very, very interesting, fun set. What weapon? I can't remember. Do you guys remember what weapon enchant gives you oblivion damage? Do you know?
Yeah, it's negative health regen.
Oh, okay.
So it'd be Itade and Okori.
Yeah, Okori, and then whatever else you want to use.
Yeah.
So impregnable armor. Impregnable. Am I saying it right? Impregnable armor.
Yeah,
I like
this
this
one.
set. I like this set. I think that with this set, we're going to see a lot of people wearing divines. Again,
Yeah, I like the look of this. And sturdy. I think a lot of Mage DKs are going to wear this set, and they're going to run all sturdy.
Yep. I see that coming next patch. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Corey? You like that set? The 2500 critical resistance set?
We lost Core, guys.
Apparently, Core took a shit.
Okie dokie. Wow.
All right, well, move on, I guess. Vanguard's challenge.
Yeah.
Core. I don't know how much I like this set, the Vanguard's challenge. I don't know if I like this one. What, 2500 critical resistance feels high? I don't know. I mean that's about the same that you're getting from all the other pin sets or the crit sets.
So that I think transmutation is like 1500 or something like that at gold.
Yeah,
so I mean, like, it is quite a bit, but at the same time they very obviously intended to put this set in to give you average resistance so that you didn't have to run in pen or didn't feel like you had to run in pen. And you are sacrificing a 5-piece for it.
So Mark, what this is doing is it's basically giving you the same amount of crit a 5-piece impenetrable set would give you. So that's, I mean, that's kind of where you're sitting at. It's going to be close to where 5-piece is going to give you. So, because let me see, I get an extra 800 out
No,
of.
it's double.
Is it double?
Yeah, in pen is 250, so it'd be 1.5 for 5 in pen.
Well, no, but big pieces are going to be what, 500, right?
Nope.
No, it's still the same. That's why
wow.
people put it on the small pieces, because it doesn't fluctuate.
Okay.
I still like it. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, I don't think it's too high. I don't know, man. I mean, I think maybe they're also trying to remove crit out of PvP, which I'm not going to really argue with. I mean, look at the nerf to Nightblade, so. But so back to Vanguard's challenge, dude. I don't know how much I like this set. You know, two max
I'm worried
health,
about it.
4% healing, and then, you know, 50% less damage to all other players. I mean, if you get that in the hands of a good tank, that's going to, like, he just literally has to just walk around to everybody and just puncture. Like, that's all he has to do.
Well, I think they're
Run it with
very
pirate.
wisely find the cannons in the group. I think that's going to be the priority, and it's going to make killing groups like that very, very difficult. Trolly, I think, is a bit of an understatement, though.
Yeah, I think
Marcus.
it might be a little OP, man. I think that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, Krogan, are you reading that properly, bro? It's I mean, all he's got to do is just walk up and puncture somebody. That's one of the damage dealers, and yeah. But I mean, you're gonna do a lot more damage to him, but still, I mean, who's paying attention to necessarily that one guy puncturing you? I guess you're gonna have to at that point, but I don't know.
There needs to be some sort of indicator that they've done it. I haven't looked at the set and listed it and all that, but if they're like, if they glow red or something like that, okay. I like the idea of being able to like taunt a player, right? Like that's a very cool concept, but
Alright,
Yeah.
I'm back.
I'll agree.
Used to
with
do
you.
it in SWTOR.
Welcome
I
back.
don't know if any of y'all ever played
Thanks.
it.
Sorry about that.
If we play with what?
not an extent. SWTOR, Star Wars: The Old Republic.
No.
Yeah, you could just taunt or something, and it just decrease their damage. It didn't increase the damage to you, but see how that goes here.
Oh yeah, you know what? He just brought Famous, or what is it? Famous just brought up an interesting point. You can use it with the range taunt. I didn't even think about that.
And tremor scale.
Yep. Oh,
Just
that's
inner rage.
that's kind of broken actually. Like inner rage with tremor scale. That's kind of fucked up.
Max Sork in the tower. Just. Oh man.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Okay, troll building coming.
Increase
Let's
that
go.
damage and like because usually mag source can spec into mighty too.
Ugh.
Oh, the fully charged frost staff heavy.
That'd be pretty funny. I didn't even think about that, Mark. So what are your takes on Wizards Riposte? I like this set. I think it's going to be really good for Maj DK. Extra, you get 1,000 health, 129 spell damage, 129 magicka recovery, and it's going to give you, when you take critical damage, you apply minor maim to enemies for 15 seconds, reducing their damage done by 15%. What's really nice is that allows me to basically get the benefit of choking talons while running burning talons.
Right. If it's a light armor set, I like it.
And if it's a heavy armor set, you don't like it?
I mean, I like it, but I wouldn't run it. If it's a light armor set, I'd run it. But
Yeah.
it boils down to the arcane jewelry, I guess. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, but still, I mean, you still have access to wear that with, you know, say, Alteration Mastery, which is really nice. So, I mean, you could run, if this is heavy, you could run this with Alteration and still be pretty powerful. I guess we'll go into the new trial sets, especially now that Nefas is coming back.
Hello. Some bad news and good news. Bad news, we lost a guild trader bin. Fuck.
What the hell, Nefas?
Hell
Come
yeah.
on, we leave you in charge of one thing and you fail it.
Man, it's some shit guild with 2 pages of shit. But anyway, I don't know. Why would you bid so much gold to have your guild sell like 1 or 2 pages of shit? Get the fuck out of here.
I'll be right back.
Alright.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Fucking ridiculous, man.
So yeah, what are you thinking about these PvE changes, Nefas, as far as sustain, damage numbers? Do you think? I think we talked about this privately at one point. Do you think the game should be trying to lower overall damage? Do you think that we
User
should just
disconnected from your channel.
continue to get stronger over time? Like, how do you feel about the changes?
I feel like the changes to sustain in CP was okay. Like, not. I mean, it's a huge deal having, no more 16% cost reduction to abilities. You're gonna have to rely a lot more on healing. You're gonna have to rely a lot more on orbs and stuff. Whatever. But I don't agree with some of the other changes to the base game, like the armor and passives. Like, I don't think that was necessary, hitting sustain in that area. And I definitely don't agree with the changes to orb, the synergy cooldown shared by orbs and shards. They say it's like, they say they want to promote group play in PvE more, especially without going into detail or breaking the NDA, like with the new trial emphasizing on more on teamwork and mechanics. But I think I don't think they're doing what they intend on doing. I think they're kind of removing group play, because now, as opposed to now with your rotation as a DPS, you don't have much of a reliance on healers next patch as you do now, simply because you're gonna be heavy attacking anyway. So
Yeah, you're not really gonna be picking up orbs, is what you're saying.
Well, you will, but it's like fucking pointless. It was a pointless change, and it's just hurting not just the top groups. It's also like the other guilds, progression guilds too. It's just like, cool. They said they want to make it easier for newer players, but I mean, if you're gonna make it harder for the veterans, you're obviously gonna make it harder for the new players.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I don't know what the fuck they're saying anymore on the SLI.
Well, we touched base on that. What was it last week, right, guys? Where we touched base on the fact that I was getting aggravated, and just like you said, they're changing the base game. I brought it up 100 times. The base game is fine. You have finally fixed the base game to where it's at a point where it needs to be. But now your problem is CP, and we've known this for a long time. CP is way overpowered, and they just keep adding more and more CP cap. So it's going to, in turn, cause a bunch of issues. Well, now, instead of fixing, the CP issue, now they're like, okay, well, we need to fix the base game. Well, that's not the problem. We need to focus on, okay, well, how can we fix CP without ruining the rest of the game? I don't know. I mean, would you guys agree with me on that?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there was a need to change some of the armor passives, like light armor, magic cost reduction, even medium armor, and even heavy armor. It's like, what's the point? I think the CP change was enough already, and I do agree with them trying to slow down what you would call power creep. They already tried that with Homestead. Like, they nerfed the monster sets. They said, alright guys, you're not gonna crit anymore with monster sets, and everyone of course complained, like, oh, our DPS is gonna go down. Obviously it went up. But now, yeah. But now that we're gonna hit Morrowind, DPS is definitely gonna go down. By a lot.
Absolutely, yeah. It's because now you're gonna have to wear a sustain set in PvE included. Am I wrong?
Well, no, you don't have to wear sustain sets. Like, early in guild chat, I saw people like asking, is Lich gonna be good for PvE DPS next patch? And I'm like, yeah, if you're a retard.
Well, no, so my question is, okay, so are we gonna be changing the basis of, like, instead of having to wear a sustain set, I don't know, me personally, I feel like you get more out of having weapon or spell damage and chance on the jewelry. So what I was thinking was, instead of running, you know, 2 damage sets with, you know, weapon, you know, either cost reduction or regen on the jewelry, instead running 1 sustain set and running full damage on the jewelry. I mean, which one do you think would benefit more? That's my
You're
idea behind it.
you're essentially correct in that line of thought. Like, you can go still spell damage or weapon damage glyphs, and just heavy attack more as part of your rotation.
Okay.
Or you could do cost reduction on jewelry. A lot of people don't even consider food or drinks, but next patch, which mothers put in brew, may be a solid thing, especially for healers. Other than that, I think it's just gonna be an interesting patch for healers and tanks. Just very boring patch for DPS, and that's a lot of people that DPS, and that's why you have all these people outraged.
So like, I heard someone explain it pretty well. Like so like PvE, there's like 2 different kinds of builds. There's cost reduction builds, which have spammable abilities, right? With the dots, and then there's heavy attack builds. And
Right.
the heavy attack builds, just instead of using a spammable, so instead of using force pulse on a sorcerer or like whip, you're just gonna heavy attack. Like,
Yeah, you're gonna lay down dots and then just, you know, throw in a heavy attack from a lightning staff or an inferno
Yeah,
staff or something like that.
or in front of
That's
yeah.
pretty much it. You can't do full rotations as you can right now in Homestead on Whirlwind for sure, because you're gonna be out of Magicka. And I'm saying Magicka because stamina next patch for PvE, it's gonna be complete garbage, unfortunately. They're just gonna pigeonhole everyone into Magicka when they're saying, okay, we want to diversify builds. I don't think.
Well, no, but
Stam's gonna be.
but they're buffing caltrops. Come on, Foss. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
They're-
Caltrops, right? Yeah.
They're halving the damage per cast though. And that's a really big dent to it actually.
I mean, well, it was a joke. Thanks, Cyphix, for like completely ruining the joke, man.
No, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Like, well, no, like, like it can stack. Like that's a huge thing for PvP. That's gonna be some bullshit that we're gonna have to deal with. Like, you realize that, right?
Yeah. That's
Like-
that's why I'm just gonna avoid chokes at all costs unless I'm funneling people into a choke.
Right.
But
Other than this, yeah.
go ahead, Nefas. Go ahead.
Other than the CP changes, I think the patch is going to be okay, but I can't say much as a DPS because I haven't really DPS much in the new trial or whatever, or at all actually. I've only healed it. But I think another reason why people are so like mad is because I think ZeniMax is kind of out of touch with the player base. A lot of people, like even Deltia. I mean, I know a lot of people make fun of him, but that's also probably one of the reasons why he's quitting Insta and why he was so public about it. Like he gave his feedback, and he just didn't do anything. Like it's the same. It was the same case with previous patches. It was the same case for Thieves Guild. It was the same case for Dark Brotherhood. It was the same case for Ontamriel. Even before that, all the way back to fucking 1.6, pretty sure. Like they don't really listen to the player base, and if they do, they often listen to the wrong stuff. Even people who have had meetings with the developers,
disconnected from your channel.
like people from Council Owner, they're not very encouraged by all the changes coming. Like they don't really think ZeniMax is very interested anymore in developing a relationship with the player base or anything else. I think that's a bad thing, to be honest.
See, I brought this up last week where I said that I see the game going in a more competitive direction than it was before. So whereas before it's not very competitive at all right now. Now it's just kind of turn and burn, you know, whatever. But I feel like next patch, I think that they're really gearing towards PvP, and I think they've realized that if they want their game to really go anywhere as a game, I think they need to more gear it towards PvP because that's where you're going to be the most successful. They're going to make the most money off of competition versus PvE. Now, it's nothing against PvE, and it's not me saying that, you know, PvE is shitty or whatever, but that's just my personal opinion and my personal experience with games. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on that.
Um, as far as this game, like I agree, like PvP, like MOBAs, whatever, attract a lot of player bases. It encourages competition, which is good. Um, Eventually you get into esports, you know what I mean, and that's where you make a lot of money as a company, and that's probably what ZeniMax is kind of thinking with Battlegrounds. That's fine, but as far as this game goes, though, when an overwhelming majority of your player base is based in PvE, and when like the players have been around a really long time, that buy your crowns, whatever, and continually invest in the company and the game, aren't happy because all the changes seem to be centered around PvP, which are negatively affecting PvE. I don't think that's a good thing. I know it's pointless for me to bring it up, but like we talked about this in the past, JD, but I think there should be two separate templates of changes, when they do patches for PvP and PvE. Obviously it's not gonna happen, but it's just fucking stupid. I don't know.
I mean, we could sit there and beat a dead horse until it's fucking there's no blood left in it. But I mean, I agree. Like we've been talking about how long have we been talking about this, DeFoss? What like a year now?
A year at least.
Yeah,
man, 2 years almost.
Because every time they make these changes, it like I remember when they buffed PVE, right? Then it fucked up PvP beyond belief. Like that was back when the Templar got their buffs. And so now we're seeing this same string of effects all over again, where now they're nerfing PvP and it's adversely affecting PvE across the board. When instead, they just don't want to add the code that they have to add to separate the two completely. And they could leave CP the same for PvE if that's what's going to make the PvE community happy. And I'm not going to argue with it one bit. But PvP needs a change. We need one bad. We've been needing one for
sure.
a long time.
Well, according to their last DSLI, what did they say? They wanted to basically homogenize everything. They didn't want players to learn two separate aspects of the game because it was too hard. And I'm thinking to myself, what? Like, do they not know who plays this game? Like, you're talking about people who are between the age of 18 to like 70. Like, people in our guild are fucking 60, 50, 40. I don't understand why they think it has to be all dumbed down. I don't know.
Well, not only that, but I mean, when you look at it like this, right? You have your strict PvEers who are happy with the way PvE is, and then you have your strict PvPers who want to change. And it's like we're begging for a change. But why disrupt the full-on flow of the game when there's nothing wrong with PvE? Me, I just don't like it. It's boring to me. You're not going to see me in it much. But like guys like you guys love it, and I know you're upset about the changes. I know a lot of people are upset about the changes coming up.
Well, yeah, now you have a lot of people threatening to quit or have already quit or looking for new games, and that's gonna hurt the player base a little bit. But life will go on. I think PvEs right now it's a bit overperforming. That's why I said I agree with some of the changes like CP, sustain, nerfing some of the damage, some of the power creep. But I don't necessarily agree with, destroying it or making it very boring for people. Like, that's one of the finer aspects of the game, Like, you have very fluid combat play compared to other MMOs. But next patch, as a DPS or something, you're going to be heavy attacking a lot more than you would actually be using most skills. So that, like, just think about that. It's, like, kind of stale.
Well, that's also dumbing it down in a way for the casual player, too, at the same time.
Right.
Which I don't think that ZOS realizes that they do have competitive PvEers. It's not just.
Oh, they do.
Then why are they doing this aspect of the game when that seems to me like it's completely centralized around giving bad players, the ability to do a proper rotation is what I'm kind of hearing right now.
Yeah, well, they even said that in the past 2 patches. They directly said, we want to like lower the ceiling and raise the floor to help the newer players out, and they did. But I think when you're just making everything the same, when you're not rewarding people for how good they've gotten at the game and whatever, or how much they've practiced the rotation for hours, perfecting it, I don't think that's a good thing.
Yeah, especially when you're now adding a new class, which was going to be is going to be like a new change to PvE, especially because now we have, we're still stuck at 4 people allowed in one dungeon. Now we're adding this new class, and so now it's going to come down to, okay, well, it's going to be, best in slot next. But so now we're adding this aspect to the game while nerfing everything else, which, in my opinion, I feel like it's, it's kind of like, putting that, the carrot in front of the horse, like just kind of trying to bring him along. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about that situation. I don't know exactly where I'm trying to go with that, but it's just kind of like I'm upset about it in a way. Like I'm upset about it.
It's just a fucking mess. I don't know. It's whatever. Before I bore you guys with all more PvE shit, the last thing I'll mention, I guess, is the Templars, I guess, because that's kind of my. It's not really my main thing, but it's my main thing as in raids as a healer.
Mm-hmm.
People have been telling me Templars are dead, or whatever, and I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
It definitely isn't. Just because major mending was removed doesn't mean your heals will. Of course, your heals will hit for less, but it's like, it's still gonna be a solid class for healing. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but Holdord beat Vet Halls of Fabrication on the PTS with 2 Templar healers, I believe. We beat it with 1 Ward and 1 Templar healer, but that still shows the class is still viable, the class is still alive. I definitely agree with the changes to major mending though, being removed from Templar, because in PvP that's fucking hilariously fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's literally cancer in a nutshell. Is exactly what it is. I mean,
and in PvE you don't need major mending up battle all the time. It's kind of overkill.
Well, I mean, that's like I go in with a Sork, and I'm just running like I went and was trying out this new build, and I mean, shit, Cyphix was tanking in medium armor, and we finished ICP no problem. We didn't even wipe. We went all the way through.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was in powerful assault. Alkosh.
Yeah. As for the Warden, I played around with it in the healing aspect. I think it's gonna be a solid healing class. For tanking, I don't know. I don't think so. Or DPS, I'm not quite sure either. I don't think it's a pay to win class. I think it's just gonna be just whatever.
Well, so Marx brings this point up real quick, Nefas. He said repentance nerf will hurt group play in his opinion. I don't know. I mean, are you really seeing that effect in group play for trials?
So in trials, you don't really use repentance or radiant aura most of the time, or rather, the groups I run with usually don't. I guess it's only very specific fights or polls, like in Vedmon, maybe the hallway poll you'll need it. But I think repentance will hurt a lot of groups in things like VDSA or 4-man dungeons.
Okay.
For PvP, it's gonna definitely hurt. Because now you're like, you can't give stam to everyone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, no, hey, JD, you're freaking healer over here. Okay?
Yeah, hey, look, man.
I'm complaining about the repentance change. As a PvP healer, I'm pretty pissed off about it.
Yeah, I think them kind of changing a few things about some of the classes is kind of removing class identity.
Damn. How many people have I heard say that in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what I've been saying all along.
Which can be good or bad depending on the direction it goes, But I don't know why they targeted repentance. It's like at least slap a cost to it if you're really concerned about not having a cost for it and giving stam to others. Like that's what they said. That's why they're removing that aspect of the ability, because there's no cost to it. So why not just put the cost to it?
Make it cost like the same amount Purge does. I mean, it's just as effective as Purge. So
a radiant aura.
Yeah.
Like
give it
the other fucking
cost.
morph of it.
Like next patch, I feel like in PvE or even just PvE actually, we're getting punished for doing our jobs, kind of, rather than not doing our jobs.
So Mark says this. He said, "Come on, Zos. Nothing wrong with class archetypes." Well, okay, but I have to disagree with that on some position, and the position that I'm disagreeing with that on is with DK and with Templar. Major mending in those archetypes needed to be adjusted. I don't feel like
Yeah.
I think DK needed to keep it to a point, and I think they did a really good job with Igneous Shield. I think that's a perfect nerf because DKs are meant to be your frontline tank, not a Templar. And so your Templar is now getting adjusted to where it's not going to be able to stand up in the front line and just take abusive amounts of damage. But the DK is still going to have access to major mending for that half a second or quarter of a second that we're going to get it as long as that shield's up, which is enough to allow us to get at least one tick from Vigor or one burst heal off from Coag. So I feel like that nerf is good, and I feel like that needed to be adjusted with the archetypes of those two classes because major mending is just way too fucking powerful. I mean, that's my thought.
Yeah, and like I said, I agree. Major mending's, I think, a little bit overkill in both PvE and PvP. I don't think you necessarily need that to sufficiently heal in PvE, raids, DSA, whatever. PvP, it's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like I don't even PvP much anymore, and whenever I go into PvP, I look at a Templar, I'm just like, alright, I'm out.
Yeah, you're just like,
Like, fuck that.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna fight that. Or you come across, so we have this experience in PvP currently where you go into IC and you run across a group of 4 Templars in it, or you have groups like Van Zant's group, who is like 16 players with nothing but Templars. How the fuck are you supposed to kill that? Like, please tell me.
The only option is to somehow debuff all of them.
Were you? No,
and then burst them down.
JD, okay, I needed you last week when I was Emperor, and you did not come. You did not. You were not one of my mighty knights. Okay, there were 4 fucking reactive Templars in a group of 9 people. 4 reactive Templars, JD, and they were all using Purge, like the Cyrodiil fucking heal Purge. Like, oh, yeah, it wasn't RIP though. That's the thing. They were never gonna kill me. I ended up just misforming away. I was like, fuck you guys.
I knew me being the debuff tank, which Nefas, I don't know if you've watched any of my tank videos, but I am one hell of a tank in PvP. And I was getting messages from them the whole time they were doing it, but I just heard all the drama that was going on, and so I didn't want to join. And so I knew that there was going to be a day where somebody would bring it up that I didn't come into your imp push. And I apologize, Cyfix, but I did not want to get involved in the drama. There was so
Wait, what drama?
Oh, the Tina and Dark drama with the
that wasn't really drama.
And then the blah. I saw it in guild chat, and that was it. I was like, I don't want to.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
PvP's
like, always drama.
Me.
That's
I'm
why
not
I'm
even gonna get into that.
I don't like that about PvP anyway. It's like too much fucking drama. Most of the drama in guild chat is PvP related. I don't know.
I don't know why you would.
You talking about between me and Whopper, Nefas?
No, just anything, man. Like, just it. I don't know, man. Compared to PvE drama, it's kind of toxic. But that's whatever. That's not why we're here today talking about that, you know.
It's war, Nefas. It's war.
Not just guild or friends,
Dark declared war on me that day. No. Dark declared war. I'll become Warden. Best Magistore.
Yeah, I want to hear a little bit about Warden, man. I haven't gotten to see the class at all, and I know Mr. NDA over here, fucking Cyfix, won't say much about it. So please tell me a little bit about
Mr. NDA.
About Warden.
I mean, no, I honestly haven't played. I haven't actually made a build with Warden. I've like looked at it and stuff.
I think the NDA is kind of null and void now concerning Warden, or even some of the things in PTS, because it's been leaked a lot and it's whatever at this point. Like, even Outcast has made a video on the sets. Warden, like I said earlier, I don't think it's gonna make a great tank. It might be a great alternate tank to DKs in PvE, but I don't think it's gonna be as optimal. As a healer, I think it's gonna be a great healer. Major mending though is still kind of conditional. Like, people were complaining, why would you buff it so much? But even before they nerfed the major mending passive, I think it was okay. Like, it's a conditional major mending. It's not like rune focus where you can just keep it 100% of the time as a Templar and have major mending. So
they might have nerfed that though for PvP, because they might have seen something in BGs that was like an issue with that. It's just
probably, yeah, because they're not even looking at PvE feedback or PvE aspects of the game anymore at this point. I think all the changes I'm seeing, it's just centered around PvP. What
about that Warbane set on Magic and Nightblade? Is Magic and Nightblade going to be the new melee meta?
War
We're
Maiden?
gonna
You mean War Machine?
War Machine, whatever, the Magica set that gives Major Slayer to the
Major,
group?
yeah. So that set's kind of cool. First when we looked at it, we were like, what if it works with Overload?
Right.
Yeah, you have
Right.
like 8 storks rotating Overload,
Yeah.
giving Major Slayer to everyone. But sadly, it does not work like that. Overload does not work on it. So I think yeah, it's gonna be one of the better best in slots next patch for Magic and Nightblade. Because you know, like Soul, what was it? Soul Strike? I forget.
Soul Harvest.
Soul Harvest. Yeah, sorry, my bad. My brain's farting.
70 ulti.
Well,
That's
air it
one,
out,
and
air
you
it out,
gain
would
ulti
you?
so much as a Nightblade. So yeah, I think it's gonna be one of the better best in slots. I think Fear Turbo made a build video already about it. So
Oh.
for sure, it's gonna be an interesting set to combine with 3-piece willpower, whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Warden. I don't, as a DPS, I don't really, I don't know,
Not impressed
I
with
don't
it?
quite know. I don't quite know yet. From what I've seen so far, of people doing it, it might be more of them not knowing the rotation yet, or them not playing around enough with it yet. But as a DPS, I'm not really impressed with it. But yeah. As for the other trial sets, for the healer or tank, or what was meant for the tank or healer, garbage. Because next patch as a healer, you'll probably still want Spell Power Cure as base, and your secondary sets will be Worm, even though they did nerf Worm from like 5% magic cost reduction, 4% cost reduction. Still, cost reduction can't get any more unless you put, you know, cost reduction on jewelry.
It's
So
still
Worm is,
group utility.
yeah, Worm is definitely a must next patch for sure. I feel the
So-
other secondary set, go on.
I was gonna say, so speaking of them nerfing Worm, have they talked about nerfing any of the other reduction sets, like say Seducer or Alteration Mastery?
No, they have not. In fact, actually, next patch they are going to be buffing Alteration Mastery, I believe, because right now, Alteration Mastery doesn't affect every cost reduction. I'm not sure if you know that, JD. Next patch, like right now, you would think it affects block cost reduction,
Right.
rolling,
And dodge roll.
dodge roll. But next
Break
patch,
free.
they're gonna fix it to where it will. So they're gonna buff that set.
Oh, okay, nice.
And
Yeah.
indirectly, it's also buffed by the fact that everybody else's costs are going to go higher, right? Just passively.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be one of the star sets next patch, maybe.
I know for PvP, it's going to absolutely be one of the star sets. For any
Yeah.
frontline melee class, absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Seducer. I don't think they're gonna touch any of the craftable sets because it's already all so shit compared to the droppable sets. So I don't know why they would. I think they are once and for all fixing the Twiceborn star bug next patch, and that's about it for craftable sets.
So I had a quick question real quick because Famous had posted something in chat and he said, I hate their Magicka main DPS is undodgeable and it gets 50% boost depending on how far they are. The Cliff Diver skill. Anyway, so what class is he talking about? Do you guys know?
That's Warden.
Okay, so that's Warden. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 15% boost, not 50. It's 1-5. It being undodgeable, I'm not a big fan of things that are undodgeable
Nope.
in general or unblockable.
Nope. I think
Well,
that's...
it's blockable.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
It is blockable, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not a fan of those.
I feel like the only things in this game...
You gotta counter.
The only things in this game that should be undodgeable is ultimates. That is it. You can block them, but you can't
even
dodge
that,
them.
Like, I used to be able to dodge roll Meteor. I'm
Well, no,
really
but
not
I
mad that isn't a thing. Like,
I'm happy that Meteor, and the reason why I feel this way is because you have to build up ultimate in order to drop it.
yeah, but it's skillful counterplay though. Like, I don't know. Anyway.
Well, recently I've been playing this game called Overwatch, and I think the way they do most of the game counterplay with ultimates is I like it because it's like you have to counter an ultimate with another ultimate.
Okay.
rather than using a base skill to completely nullify the ultimate. You know what I mean?
I can agree
But
with
I don't
that.
know.
I can agree with that because I mean you're talking about a class's specific ability, that's just specific to that class or that particular weapon line, and you have to be doing X amount of damage or building up ultimate in some way in order to use that ultimate, and that ultimate is essentially giving you the ability to do a bunch of burst damage or negate a bunch of damage. And
Right.
so I can definitely agree with what you were saying with Overwatch. I think that if they added that aspect into this game, I think it would add for a lot of really good counterplay. But it would also piss people off in turn because then they're not going to be able to block ultimates like they can now. So I don't know. I mean, that's something that we'll just have to see if Zoss ever touches base on, which I doubt they will.
Yeah. I think your viewer also said something about problem with it being only blockable is it's Zerg friendly. I think regardless of patch, I think Zergs will always be around.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think in fact next patch there's gonna be a lot more Zerging because everyone's gonna be grouping up because there's less resources. So why not? I think small scale is kind of meh. Next patch even more
Small scale's
because
getting funneled into
battlegrounds.
battlegrounds, and
Right. Well, now it's like okay, who cares now, right? So
Mhm.
regarding Zerging, it's whatever. Like, who cares? um, and
but
the game has always been about large group play, so I don't know. It's whatever.
I wouldn't have a
Um,
problem with large group play, right? And I brought this point up many times. I wouldn't have a problem with large group play if the large group play wasn't as laggy. That's my only concern.
yeah, that's pretty much it. And you can't really do much about multiple people hitting at the same time anyway.
Mm,
That's also bullshit. Like at the
famous,
exact same time.
famous. I don't know if I agree with reflecting meteor, and I think that's because after seeing what had happened in like Arboretum with reflecting meteor, um, when you got to the end of that reflection, whoever got hit by that meteor was instantly dead. If they're running Dragonfire scale, anyways. Um,
Yeah.
Sork needs to be nerfed. I know that a lot of people are looking at it saying, "Oh, it's going to be doing way too much damage next patch." No, it's not. You have to understand that they're
No.
getting hit just as hard with sustain as everything else. So they're gonna have to wear a sustain set no matter which way you look at it because wards cost a fuckload of magicka to use. They're not cheap spells.
Even last night, so like I thought, just Magisorg easy mode. I went and I tried it last night, and it like we were in Azura's, and
Mm-hmm.
like those shields are expensive, man. Like
Yeah,
even without the cost poisons, like
you had a
it's
cost poison on there, and it's devastating when you use that hardened ward or that healing ward.
absolutely. So I don't think like I've done a few 1v1s, and I would say that there aren't a lot of things that are different as far as like the whole 1, 2, 3 man group sort of gameplay. It's gonna be pretty similar to the way that it is now as far as class function.
Yeah, I think.
DKs are still gonna be tanky.
Yep.
Nightblades are still gonna be cloaking bastards. Like
And so I want to stress to all of my viewers that are watching right now, if you want to get ready for next patch and you want to have a basis to start from in PvP, please go guest Azuras and play in Azuras. You need to get ready for next patch, and you need to start learning how to use sustain properly, and you need to start learning how to not spam abilities if you want to learn how to play in next patch. Otherwise, when next patch comes, you're going to be hitting me up on my YouTube channel or whispering me in game saying, "What the fuck do I do? I don't know what to use." So please do these things. Go into Azuras, test stuff out, start learning your classes better, and start learning how to not spam. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. Um,
one other thing about that, go farm lots of Telvar and then make these poisons that are basically tripod but just poisons, and you'll get tons of sustain for days because everybody runs fucking cost poisons in Azuras. It's fucking ridiculous. Just do it. You'll thank me later.
and I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. Famous, I don't think that they're going to buff Sork shields. I don't see that happening.
Nah.
Since what patch was that, Nefas, where they nerfed shields? You remember that?
That
About a year
was
ago, right? Close to a year ago.
no. It's not even a year ago. Was
Dark
it?
Brotherhood, I think.
No, it wasn't Dark Brotherhood. It
Thieves
was
Guild.
before that. It was. Fuck. I don't know when it was. Hold on.
I think it was Thieves Guild. I think it was.
Where they changed it from like what 20-second duration to 6-second duration, right?
Yeah.
But again, that wasn't just Source that took that hit. I mean, that was everything across the board. I mean, even Igneous Shield took that hit. So
Mask of Nightblade took
yeah.
a huge hit there.
Yeah, it was last year, June-ish or April, somewhere in there. I think it was
about
Thieves Guild.
9 months ago or so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what you have to understand is that these nerfs that are happening next patch are happening across the board. They're not going to buff Sork's shields. I don't see that happening anywhere in the future. If anything, the only thing I can see them doing is raising the amount of time the shields stay up, which I think they've already confirmed they're doing that, correct? Am I wrong? Aren't they raising it to 8?
What?
Not
Sword
that
shield?
I know of.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
I haven't
shield-
heard any
Okay.
shield changes.
For some reason, I thought I heard something about 8-second shields. I didn't read anything about it, but I heard somebody talking about that.
Well, the other morph of Hardened Ward, Conjured Ward, does 8 seconds.
Oh no, that's a 10. That's 10 seconds.
Is it 10 seconds?
Yeah, it's a 10-second
I don't know. Then it's whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
But so anyways, I want to go ahead and we're gonna wrap up ESO talk for tonight. We'll be here next weekend. I'm gonna aim for Saturday. I either want to go for Friday or Sunday this weekend so we can get with Nefas. So we were able to talk to Nefas. It was good having you on talk tonight, Nefas, and
Thanks for having me.
you guys keep kicking ass in there in them trials, man. And
Thank you.
if you guys want to check him out, Nefas streams. He does Forever Fishing and all that good stuff. He's our fearless leader of our
No, I
builds.
just stream fishing.
He streams fishing, all right, and he also trolls noob trial runners as well. So if you want to see that,
I don't know
it's
about
pretty,
that.
that's pretty funny to watch.
Oh.
Everyone thought, Dramothra Destroyer was like endgame. He's reached it. No, he still doesn't have the true title. Master Angler.
Yeah.
Master
He's
Angler.
working
I
on it.
still
Though.
don't
He's
have
working
it.
on it though.
Dude, I have to
Tune
finish.
in, guys. Make sure to tune in.
God damn it.
Maybe in the weeks to come, he will have the fishing title. All right, guys. So when we bring him back on in like a month, he'll be in here. He'll be the Master Angler, and he'll be.
Yeah,
forever
we're gonna have
known.
like a whole. We're gonna have banners up.
Just a heads up, they are gonna be doing another round of incremental patches tomorrow, Monday, yeah?
Okay.
So
Oh, boy.
best to keep an eye on what they're changing this time. Probably not much. I'm not really hoping at this point, but maybe they'll actually, have some sense in some changes.
Cost
PvE
poisons reduced to
PvP.
fucking 8%.
What I would like to see changed, yeah, and I want to agree with you guys on that real quick. What I would like to see changed is poisons, and I would like to see the armor nerfs go away. Armor needs to stay where it's at. It's in a fine spot, except for Constitution. That needs a nerf. We need to go ahead and wipe that off.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why they changed those armor passives. It's just unnecessary.
And famous, I believe,
Oh.
I agree with you on heavy attack bashable heavy attacks. Agreed. That I will never argue with. And Seto, what's going on? So anyways, we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap up ESO Talk for tonight. I'm going to be kicking off here in about 10 minutes. Going to be going back into some PvP on True Flame. So I'm going to go ahead and grab me another beer, take a quick bio break. So if you guys want to keep tuning in and seeing, I don't know, Cypher, you going to join me in True Flame again? Or are you getting ready to get off?
I'm going to go have a smoke and whatnot. But yeah, I'll join you here in, I don't know, 15 minutes or so.
All right, cool. Toss me a lead if you can, too, so I can get us a group going. And
Yeah.
We're going to be back in True Flame. And Nefas, do you have anything you want to leave us on?
Nah, man. I'm just gonna go take care of this trader thing real quick. What fucking guild with 2 pages of shit?
Keep watching,
Oh,
guys,
good.
and see which morph of mines I take. Spoiler warning, it's the one that gives me 5. Like,
Yeah, man.
well,
But so yeah, we'll be back on for some PvP going in here in about 5-10 minutes. So you guys just stay tuned with us, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes. Thanks for watching, guys.